Make a wish, sweethearts." The new stepmother smiled sweetly as the 5-year-old triplets prepared to blow out the candles. Their mother had been missing for 6 months. The stepmother handed them a big teddy bear, saying, "A gift for you to remember me by." She let out a cold little laugh. What she didn't know was that teddy bear belonged to their mother, and it contained a voice recording that would reveal exactly how she disappeared. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel and let's get started. "Karen, why can't I call my real mommy to tell her about my birthday party?" Chloe asked. Her small fingers twisting the hem of her pink dress, Karen Sullivan stopped arranging cupcakes on the 3-tiered display. Her smile appeared quickly, but her eyes remained cold. "Sweetheart, we've talked about this. Your mommy is away. She can't come to the phone right now." Chloe's lower lip trembled. "But it's our birthday. Mommy never missed our birthday before." It was early morning in the Morgan household in Oak Ridge, Massachusetts. Sunlight streamed through kitchen windows, illuminating colorful balloons and streamers decorating every corner. Today, the Morgan triplets, Anna, Bella, and Chloe, were turning 5 years old. David Morgan stood nearby, clutching his coffee mug too tightly. His tired eyes kept drifting to a family photograph on the refrigerator: himself, Lena, and 3 identical baby girls with bright red hair. 6 months had passed since his wife vanished without a trace. "The bouncy castle delivery people will be here in 20 minutes, Karen said, breaking the uncomfortable silence. "Everything needs to be perfect for our new memories." David nodded absently. "I should wake up the girls." In the bedroom the triplets shared, Anna was already awake, carefully laying out 3 matching dresses on their beds. Though identical in appearance, each girl had a distinct personality that showed even in sleep. Bella curled tightly around her pillow, while Chloe had somehow turned completely upside down during the night. "Daddy!" Anna exclaimed when David entered. She ran to him, her small arms wrapping around his legs. "Did Detective Wilson call? Did he find Mommy?" David knelt down, meeting her hopeful eyes. "No news yet, sweetie, but today is your special day. Let's try to have fun, okay?" "Okay," Anna said, though her eyes remained serious. "I'll help get everyone ready." Within an hour, the backyard transformed into a celebration zone. A large, bouncy castle dominated one corner, while tables covered in pink tablecloths held stacks of presents. Karen directed every detail with intense precision. "The cake table needs to be centered exactly," she instructed the party helpers. "And make sure those balloons are secured properly. I want everything perfect." Neighbors began arriving around noon, bringing gifts and curious glances. Many still whispered about how quickly David had remarried after Lena's disappearance. Just 2 months of knowing Karen, who worked at the local pharmacy where David filled prescriptions for his occasional insomnia. "Such a lovely party," Mrs. Jenkins from next door commented, watching Karen arrange gift bags with military precision. "She certainly puts in effort with the girls." "Yes, though some might say it's all happening a bit fast," her husband replied quietly. Detective James Wilson made a brief appearance, his plain clothes not quite hiding his police presence. He pulled David aside near the rose bushes. "I'm sorry, David. No new leads on Lena's case," he said, keeping his voice low. "We're still looking, but after 6 months..." His voice trailed off meaningfully. David ran a hand through his graying hair. "I know. The girls keep asking. Anna especially. She notices everything." Inside the house, Sarah Thompson arrived carrying 3 gift bags. Lena's best friend since college and the triplets' godmother, she had made the 2-hour drive from Boston despite her obvious discomfort around Karen. "Sarah," Karen greeted with a tight smile. "So glad you could make it." "I wouldn't miss the girl's birthday," Sarah replied coolly. Her eyes scanned the elaborately decorated house. "Quite a production you've put together." "The girls deserve the best," Karen said, straightening a perfectly aligned stack of napkins. We need to create new memories now." Sarah's eyes narrowed slightly. "Some might say remembering old memories is important too. There are still photos of Lena around, I notice." "David insists on keeping them," Karen replied, her smile never reaching her eyes. Outside, Anna watched Karen carefully from beneath the snack table. She observed how Karen checked her watch repeatedly, how she rearranged items that were already perfectly placed. "She's acting weird again," Anna whispered to Bella, who had crawled under the table to hide when Karen tried to gather everyone for photos. Bella nodded but said nothing. She hadn't spoken much since their mother disappeared. "Come out, Bella, please," David called, kneeling to peer under the tablecloth. "Everyone's waiting for the family picture." Bella shook her head, backing farther into her hiding place. "It's okay," David said gently. "You can hold your special bunny in the picture." Eventually, with much coaxing, the family assembled for photos. David looking tired but smiling, Karen standing perfectly poised with one hand on each of the girls' shoulders, and the triplets in their matching pink dresses, their expressions ranging from Anna's suspicion to Bella's discomfort, to Chloe's forced smile. As afternoon turned to evening, Karen gathered everyone around the gift table. "Attention, everyone!" she called, clapping her hands. "It's time for special presents!" The guests formed a circle as Karen dramatically produced 3 identical gift boxes wrapped in silver paper with blue ribbons. "These are special gifts to remember me by," Karen announced, cameras flashing all around. She presented each girl with a teddy bear, soft, brown, with a blue ribbon tied around its neck. "They're all the same," Chloe observed, examining her bear. "Almost the same," Karen said, spending extra time adjusting the ribbon on Chloe's bear. "But each one is special, just like each of you." David frowned slightly, staring at Chloe's bear. Something about it seemed familiar, but before he could place the memory, Sarah appeared at his side. "Doesn't that bear look familiar to you?" she asked quietly. Karen suddenly stepped between them. "Time for cake," she announced loudly, leading everyone to the cake table. As guests began departing at sunset, Karen meticulously collected discarded wrapping paper, becoming visibly agitated when anything was out of place. "I'll get it," Sarah offered, reaching for a stray ribbon near Karen's feet. "No," Karen snapped, then immediately softened her tone. "I mean, I've got it. I have a system." Later that night, after stories and tucking in, David checked on each girl one last time. Anna was already asleep, her new teddy bear placed carefully at the foot of her bed. Bella had built a small fortress of pillows around herself, her bear clutched tightly to her chest. In Chloe's room, moonlight filtered through the window. She wasn't sleeping, but instead sat up, hugging her teddy bear tightly while staring at a photo of Lena on her nightstand. "You miss Mommy, don't you?" David asked softly. Sitting on the edge of her bed, Chloe nodded. "My bear feels like Mommy's hugs," she whispered. "That's nice," David said, his throat tight with emotion. "Time for sleep now." "Daddy?" Chloe asked as he reached the door. "Do you think Mommy knows it's our birthday?" "I'm sure she does, sweetie," David replied, "wherever she is." After all the girls were asleep, David passed Karen in the hallway. She stood outside Chloe's room, staring through the cracked door with an odd expression. "Is everything okay?" he asked. Karen startled slightly. "Perfect," she said, her smile returning. "Everything is absolutely perfect." As David turned away, he missed the calculating look that briefly crossed Karen's face as she gazed once more at Chloe's teddy bear before quietly closing the door. The morning sun filled the Morgans' playroom with warm light as Chloe sat cross-legged on the carpet. Most of the birthday decorations from yesterday's party had been taken down, but a few stray balloons still floated near the ceiling. Chloe held her new teddy bear close, talking to it softly while her sisters slept in. "You're my special friend," she whispered to the bear, squeezing it tight against her chest. "I'm going to tell you all my secrets." As Chloe hugged the bear extra tight, she heard a strange click. She pulled back, confused, looking at the soft brown toy with curiosity. "What was that?" she asked, squeezing the bear again. This time, when she squeezed, something unexpected happened. A woman's voice came from inside the bear, a voice Chloe recognized immediately. "Karen, what are you doing here? It's midnight. How did you get in? Stay away from me. David, help!" Chloe froze, her eyes growing wide. It was her mother's voice, Mommy's voice, coming from inside the teddy bear. The recording continued with sounds of things breaking and people moving quickly. Then another voice spoke, Karen's voice. "I'm sending you to a place where no one will ever find you." The recording stopped. Chloe's hands trembled as she held the bear. She didn't understand everything she heard, but she knew it was important. Her mommy was in trouble, and Karen had done something bad. "Daddy!" Chloe screamed, jumping up and running through the house. "Daddy! Daddy!" In the kitchen, David was making pancakes while Karen arranged fresh orange juice and plates at the table. They both looked up as Chloe burst into the room clutching her teddy bear. "What's wrong, sweetie?" David asked, turning down the stove. "Mommy's in my teddy!" Chloe cried, thrusting the bear toward her father. "Mommy's talking in my teddy bear!" David glanced at Karen, who gave a small shrug and smile. "She has quite an imagination," Karen said, reaching for the bear. "Let me see that." "No!" Chloe pulled the bear away from Karen. "Daddy needs to listen. Mommy's in trouble." David knelt down to Chloe's level. "Okay, let's hear what your teddy bear has to say." Chloe squeezed the bear tightly, and again the mechanical click sounded. Then Lena's voice filled the kitchen. "Karen, what are you doing here? It's midnight. How did you get in? Stay away from me. David, help!" The color drained from David's face. He grabbed the bear, squeezing it again to replay the recording. Karen dropped the glass of orange juice she was holding. It shattered on the floor, but no one moved to clean it up. "What is this?" David demanded, staring at Karen. His hands shook as he held the teddy bear. Karen quickly bent down to clean up the broken glass. "I don't know. Someone must be playing a cruel joke." Her hands moved frantically across the floor, picking up glass pieces. "Maybe Sarah? She never liked me." "That's Lena's voice," David said, his voice barely above a whisper. "And yours." Chloe tugged on David's sleeve. "Daddy, Karen hurt Mommy. The teddy bear told me." David looked at his daughter, then back at Karen, whose face had gone pale. "Chloe, go to my study," David said, keeping his voice calm despite his racing heart. "Take the bear with you. Lock the door and don't open it until I come get you." "But Daddy!" "Now, Chloe." As Chloe ran to the study, David heard Anna and Bella coming down the stairs, drawn by the commotion. "What's happening?" Anna asked, her eyes moving from the broken glass to her father's face. David took a deep breath. "Girls, go to the study with Chloe, right now." Once the girls were safely in the study, David pulled out his phone and dialed Detective Wilson's number, never taking his eyes off Karen. "James, I need you to come to my house immediately. We've found something about Lena." Karen stood up slowly, glass fragments still scattered around her feet. "David, you can't honestly believe that recording is real. Someone is trying to frame me." "Then you won't mind explaining it to Detective Wilson," David replied, moving to block the kitchen doorway. Karen's calm facade began to crack. "This is ridiculous. I've done nothing but love you and those girls." Her voice rose sharply. "After everything I've done for this family." Within 20 minutes, Detective Wilson arrived with a forensic technician. David led them to his study, where Chloe sat on the small couch with her sisters, still clutching the teddy bear. "Chloe, this is Mr. Peterson," Detective Wilson said, introducing the technician. "He needs to see your teddy bear." Chloe hesitated, holding the bear tighter. "Will he hurt my bear?" she asked. "No," Mr. Peterson promised. "I'll be very gentle. We just need to look inside to find the recording device." Reluctantly, Chloe handed over her teddy bear. The technician carefully examined it, finding a small seam under the blue ribbon. Working delicately, he opened the seam and extracted a small voice recorder. "This is high quality," he said to Detective Wilson. It activated when compressed and has several minutes of recording capacity. In the living room, a female officer was taking Karen's statement. Karen alternated between tearful pleas and angry outbursts. "This is a setup," she insisted. "I never hurt Lena. Why would I? I didn't even know her." David watched from the doorway, his mind racing. 6 months ago, his wife had vanished without a trace. 2 months later, he married Karen after a whirlwind romance that began at the pharmacy where she worked. Now, his daughter's birthday present had revealed a recording that suggested Karen was directly involved in Lena's disappearance. Anna approached her father, tugging on his sleeve. "Daddy, Karen used to drive by our house," she whispered. "Before Mommy disappeared. I saw her car many times." David stared at his daughter. "What? Why didn't you tell me this before?" "I didn't know it was important," Anna said. "And after she moved in, she told me I was making up stories." Detective Wilson joined them, his expression serious. "David, we're placing Karen under house surveillance while we authenticate the recording. We'll need statements from you and the girls." "What about Chloe's bear?" David asked. "We've removed the recording device, but Chloe can keep the bear," Detective Wilson replied. "It might help her feel secure during this difficult time." Upstairs, the girls had gathered in Anna's room. Bella had retreated into her closet, refusing to come out or speak. She sat in the dark space, drawing pictures of a woman with long hair standing over a bed. Chloe held her now lighter teddy bear, explaining to Anna what she had heard. Mommy was scared of Karen. Karen did something bad to Mommy. Anna nodded seriously. "I knew something was wrong. Karen watches us too much. She looks at us funny when she thinks no one sees." Later that evening, while Karen was taking a shower, David called Sarah Thompson. His hand trembled as he held the phone. "Sarah, you need to come over. We found something about Lena. It's bad and it involves Karen." "I'm on my way," Sarah replied immediately. "Are the girls okay?" "They're scared, especially Bella. She's stopped talking again." "I'll be there in 2 hours. Don't tell Karen I'm coming." After hanging up, David noticed something strange about the phone. A small black device was attached to the back of the base, nearly invisible unless you looked closely. He examined it, recognizing it as a recording device. Karen had been monitoring the home phone calls. David carefully put the phone down without removing the device. Outside the bathroom door, he could hear the shower still running and Karen's voice softly singing. The woman he thought he knew, the woman he had married, was a stranger, and now he was trapped in a house with her, trying to act normal while fearing for his daughter's safety. In Anna's room, the 3 girls huddled together on the bed. Chloe's teddy bear sat between them, no longer containing its secret but still serving as a silent witness to what happened to their mother. "Do you think Mommy is okay?" Bella whispered, breaking her silence for the first time in days. Anna put her arm around her sister. "We're going to find out. Chloe's bear helped us. Now we can find Mommy." Outside the bedroom door, unseen by the girls, Karen watched through the crack. Her expression unreadable in the darkness of the hallway. Karen stepped back from the doorway, her footsteps silent on the carpet as she returned to the bathroom. She closed the door and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her carefully constructed world was falling apart, and she needed a plan. Morning arrived with unusual tension in the Morgan house. David had barely slept, keeping watch outside the girls' bedroom door. Most of the night, Detective Wilson returned early, accompanied by 2 more officers. "We've set up a command center at the Oak Ridge Police Department," Detective Wilson told David in the kitchen, keeping his voice low. "The recording is being analyzed right now." David ran his hands through his uncombed hair. "What happens now? Is Karen under arrest?" "Not yet. We need more evidence than just the recording." "But she's under surveillance," Detective Wilson explained. "Officers will be watching the house at all times." Karen entered the kitchen, her smile too bright. "Good morning. Would anyone like coffee?" Detective Wilson nodded politely. "Mrs. Morgan, we'll need to ask you more questions today." "Of course," Karen said, measuring coffee grounds carefully. I have nothing to hide." After Detective Wilson left, David went upstairs to get dressed for work. He called his school principal from the bedroom. "John, I need emergency leave," David said, watching through the window as police officers positioned themselves discreetly near the house. "It's a family medical situation." "Of course, David. Take all the time you need," Principal Matthews replied. "Is it about Lena?" David hesitated. "Possibly. I can't say more right now." Downstairs, the girls ate breakfast in unusual silence. Karen hovered nearby, offering more juice and cereal with forced cheerfulness. "Who wants to go to the park today?" she asked brightly. None of the girls responded. Anna watched Karen's every movement. Bella stared at her untouched cereal, and Chloe clutched her teddy bear tightly. The doorbell rang, and Karen rushed to answer it. Her smile disappeared when she saw Sarah Thompson standing on the porch with a suitcase. "What are you doing here?" Karen asked. Sarah stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. "David asked me to stay for a while to help with the girls." "We don't need help," Karen said sharply. "I can take care of my family." "They're not your family," Sarah replied quietly. "They're Lena's family." David came downstairs and quickly explained to Karen that Sarah would be staying in the guest room. Karen's face flushed with anger. "This is my house now," she said through clenched teeth. "You can't just invite people to live here." "Actually, it's still in my name," David said firmly. "And Sarah is staying to help with the girls while this investigation continues." Later that morning, Detective Wilson returned with a child psychologist named Dr. Martinez. They set up in David's study to interview each girl separately. Anna went first, sitting straight in the large chair across from Dr. Martinez. Detective Wilson sat nearby, taking notes. "Anna, when did you first see Karen before your mom disappeared?" Dr. Martinez asked gently. Anna thought carefully. "She used to drive past our house in her blue car. Sometimes she would park down the street and watch our house. I saw her many times before Mommy disappeared." "Did you tell anyone about this?" Detective Wilson asked. "I told Mommy. She started writing things in her notebook after that," Anna replied. "She said she was making a record. Bella's interview was mostly silent. She wouldn't speak, but Dr. Martinez gave her paper and crayons. Bella drew picture after picture of a woman entering a house through a basement door at night. When Detective Wilson showed her a photo of Karen, Bella nodded and pointed to the woman in her drawing. Chloe's interview revealed the most surprising information. "Karen took me to the pharmacy where she worked," Chloe explained, hugging her teddy bear. "She showed me special medicine that makes people sleep for a long time. She said sometimes people need help sleeping forever." Dr. Martinez and Detective Wilson exchanged concerned glances. "When was this, Chloe?" the detective asked. "Before Mommy went away. Karen gave me candy and said not to tell Daddy about our special trip." Meanwhile, at the police station, the forensic team completed their analysis of the recording. "It's definitely Lena Morgan's voice," the technician confirmed to Detective Wilson over the phone. "We compared it to videos from her social media, and the second voice matches Karen Morgan. The recording hasn't been altered or edited." The investigation intensified when officers discovered that Karen Sullivan had changed her name 5 years ago. She was born Catherine Shepard. "Run a complete background check on Catherine Shepard," Detective Wilson instructed. "I want to know everything about her past." Sarah took advantage of Karen being questioned at the police station to start her own investigation. She called Maria Gonzalez, a nurse who had worked with Lena at the hospital. "Maria, it's Sarah Thompson. I need information about a woman who might have worked in medical records about 5 years ago. Catherine Shepard." Maria gasped. "The woman who married Lena's husband? Yes, she worked here. She processed all the patient files in maternal medicine, the same department where Lena had her prenatal care for the triplets." "Did Lena and Catherine ever meet?" Sarah asked. "Not that I know of. But Catherine would have had access to all of Lena's medical records, personal information, everything." Sarah thanked Maria and hung up, just as Karen returned from the police station. Karen's eyes were red from crying, but her demeanor had changed from tearful to controlling. "The girls need to maintain their exact routine," Karen announced, checking her watch. "It's time for their afternoon snack, followed by 30 minutes of reading, then outdoor play until exactly 4:15. David watched her with growing unease. "They're upset, Karen. Maybe we should let them decide what they want to do today." "No!" Karen's voice rose sharply. "Children need structure, especially now. Everything needs to stay exactly the same." That night, after Karen went to bed, David found a hidden box in her closet while looking for more evidence. Inside were dozens of photos of his family, taken from a distance before he had supposedly met Karen. Photos of Lena picking up the girls from preschool, David working in the yard, the family having picnics in the park, all taken by someone watching them from afar. He quietly showed the photos to Sarah. "She was stalking your family," Sarah whispered, "for months before Lena disappeared." "But why?" David asked. "Why us?" Before Sarah could answer, they heard footsteps in the hallway. The triplets appeared in their pajamas, looking scared. "We want to sleep in Anna's room together," Chloe said. "We're making a fort to stay safe." David helped the girls build a protective circle of pillows around Anna's bed. As he tucked them in, Anna grabbed his hand. "Daddy, is Karen going to take one of us away like she took Mommy?" "No, sweetie," David promised. "There are police officers outside and Sarah and I are here. You're safe." After the girls finally fell asleep, David joined Detective Wilson outside on the porch. "We've got enough for a search warrant," the detective said quietly. "Karen has a storage unit in Greenfield. We're going there tomorrow morning." "Do you think we'll find evidence of what happened to Lena?" David asked. His voice breaking. Detective Wilson nodded grimly. "I think we're going to find a lot of answers in that storage unit." Neither man noticed Karen sitting in her car in the driveway, speaking quietly into her phone. "They know too much," she whispered to the person on the other end. "They have a warrant for the storage unit. You need to get there first and remove everything important." She listened briefly before responding. "No, I can handle things here. Just make sure they don't find anything that leads to her." Karen's car lights turned off as she ended her phone call. She waited in the darkness for several minutes before quietly returning to the house. At 4:30 in the morning, Detective Wilson and 6 officers gathered outside the Greenfield Storage Center. Fog hung low over the pavement, making the yellow lights around the facility look hazy. The detective checked his watch and nodded to his team. "Let's move," he said quietly. "Unit 23, Building C." Officer Jenkins used bolt cutters on the facility's outer gate since they arrived before the manager. As they approached Building C, Detective Wilson noticed something concerning: fresh tire tracks in the morning dew. "Someone's been here recently," he said, pointing to the ground. "Stay alert." When they reached Unit 23, Detective Wilson examined the padlock. It had been cut and replaced with a new one. "Damn it," he muttered, signaling for the bolt cutters. Someone tipped her off. The metal door rolled up with a loud clatter, revealing a storage unit packed with boxes, filing cabinets, and bulletin boards. Despite signs of hasty removal, empty spaces on shelves, and outlines of missing items in the dust, the unit still contained damning evidence. "My God," Officer Martinez whispered as they turned on their flashlights. The walls were covered with surveillance photos of the Morgan family, pictures of Lena picking up the girls from preschool, David teaching in his classroom, the family at parks and grocery stores, all taken without their knowledge. Many photos dated back 2 years before Lena's disappearance. "She was stalking them for years," Detective Wilson said, carefully photographing everything. "This was planned for a very long time." A forensic technician opened a filing cabinet and found dozens of journals written in Karen's handwriting. She flipped through the pages, her expression growing increasingly disturbed. "Listen to this entry from 18 months ago." The technician read, "Saw the Morgan triplets at the playground today. They need a better mother. Lena doesn't deserve them or David. I would be a much better wife and mother. Their lives should be mine." Detective Wilson moved to a desk in the corner and found a medical file with Lena Morgan's name. Inside was her complete health history, prescription information, and hospital records from her pregnancy with the triplets. "She stole Lena's medical records," he said, pulling on gloves to examine the papers. "There are notes in the margins about medication dosages and effects. Despite the evidence someone had removed items from the unit, they found enough to strengthen their case against Karen." "Get everything to the lab," Detective Wilson instructed, "and find out who tipped her off. We may have a leak in the department." Back at the Morgan house, David checked the home security system after the girls went to bed. He noticed something strange. Certain motion sensors had been disabled in recent months. The sensors for the basement door and back hallway were turned off 3 months ago, he told Sarah, who stood beside him in the kitchen. "Someone reconfigured the system." "Karen," Sarah said simply. She wanted to move around the house without triggering the alarms. "What if she's been bringing someone else into our house?" David asked, feeling a chill. The girls mentioned hearing noises at night. Upstairs, Anna sat on her bed with Bella and Chloe, showing them colored hair ribbons she had arranged in a row. "Red means danger," she explained in a whisper. "Yellow means be careful. Green means it's safe. We can wear these so we know how to act around Karen." Bella nodded, touching the red ribbon. Chloe picked up the green one. "When do we use green?" she asked. "Only when Daddy or Sarah is with us," Anna said firmly. "Never when Karen is alone with us." "I'm scared," Bella whispered, breaking her silence. "I keep having bad dreams about the medicine lady." "Medicine lady?" Anna asked. Bella nodded. "Karen. She gives medicine to make people sleep. In my dreams, she gives Mommy medicine and takes her away." While the girls talked, Karen insisted on preparing dinner for everyone. She refused help from David or Sarah. "I'll handle the food," she said sharply when Sarah offered to make salad. "I know exactly what the girls need." Sarah watched as Karen meticulously prepared 3 separate plates for the triplets, measuring each portion precisely. "Why are you so controlling about their food?" Sarah asked. "I'm not controlling," Karen snapped. "I'm careful. Children need proper nutrition." That evening, while playing hide-and-seek, Chloe hid in Karen's closet. Behind a row of shoes, she noticed a jewelry box. Curious, she opened it and found a hidden compartment underneath containing several small prescription bottles without labels. "What did you find?" Anna asked when Chloe showed her later. "Medicine bottles," Chloe whispered. "Like at the pharmacy where Karen works." "We need to tell Daddy," Anna decided. Meanwhile, Sarah drove to Burlington, Vermont, following the address she found in Karen's records. After 3 hours on the highway, she arrived at a small blue house with white trim. According to property records, Eleanor Winters had lived there for 25 years. Sarah knocked on the door and an older woman with silver hair answered. "Mrs. Winters, my name is Sarah Thompson. I'm investigating Catherine Shepard, who used to live next door to you." Eleanor's face registered surprise. "Catherine? I haven't heard that name in years. What's this about?" Sarah chose her words carefully. "She's involved with a friend's family and we're concerned about her background." Eleanor invited Sarah inside and served tea in floral cups. "Catherine lived next door for about 3 years, she explained. Quiet woman, kept to herself mostly until she got pregnant." "She was pregnant?" Sarah asked, surprised. Eleanor nodded sadly. "About 5 years ago. She was so excited. Painted a beautiful nursery, bought tiny clothes, even had a name picked out. But she lost the baby in her 6th month. After that, she changed." "Changed how?" Sarah pressed. "Became obsessed with a family she saw at the hospital. A mother with triplet baby girls. Catherine would talk about them constantly. How the mother didn't appreciate what she had. How Catherine would be a better mother to those girls." Eleanor sighed. "I suggested therapy. but she stopped speaking to me. Then she changed her name and moved away. I always worried about her mental state. Sarah's hands trembled as she took notes. Did she ever mention where she was going? Massachusetts somewhere. She said she needed to be closer to her real family. That's how she referred to this woman and her daughters. It was disturbing. Back in Oak Ridge, Detective Wilson met with the district attorney to review the evidence from the storage unit. We have journals documenting her obsession, stolen medical records, surveillance photos, Detective Wilson explained, and the recording from the teddy bear. The district attorney frowned. It's compelling but not conclusive for kidnapping charges. We need physical evidence linking her to Lena's disappearance, and we need to know if Lena Morgan is alive or dead. The forensic team found fingerprints in the storage unit that don't match Karen or David Morgan. Detective Wilson added, "They're running them through the system now." That night, David installed hidden cameras in the common areas of their house, explaining to the triplets they were special stars watching over them. "Like angels?" Chloe asked. "Yes," David said. "They'll help keep you safe." As the family prepared for bed, Karen checked the mailbox one final time. A small package waited inside. She quickly hid it under her jacket and took it to the bathroom, locking the door behind her. Inside the package was a cell phone and a note. "Everything important removed from storage. Police found fingerprints. Call this number immediately." Karen dialed the number, speaking in hushed tones. "They know too much. We need to move her soon." She listened briefly before replying, "Pinewood is still secure? Good. Make sure Dr. Reynolds understands what's at stake." In the police forensic lab, a technician stared at her computer screen in surprise. The fingerprints from the storage unit matched an employee at Pinewood Mental Institute in northern Maine. She immediately called Detective Wilson. "Detective, I think we found where Lena Morgan might be." Detective Wilson's phone lit up with an incoming call. He checked the screen and quickly answered, "Wilson here. What did you find?" The weather report on the radio predicted thunderstorms for Oak Ridge and surrounding areas as Detective Wilson drove to the Morgan house. Dark clouds gathered in the sky and wind rattled the trees along the street. David stood by the kitchen window watching storm clouds roll in. His phone rang. "David, it's Detective Wilson. I have important news about Lena," the detective said. "We think she might be alive." David gripped the counter to steady himself. "What? Where?" "Fingerprints from Karen's storage unit match an employee at a place called Pinewood Mental Institute in northern Maine," Detective Wilson explained. "It's a private psychiatric facility. We think Lena might be held there under a false identity." "Oh my God," David whispered. "She's alive? You're sure?" "Not completely sure yet, but it's our strongest lead. I'm heading to Maine first thing tomorrow morning with a court order. We'll call you as soon as—" A loud crack of thunder interrupted the call. Outside, lightning flashed across the sky. "Hello? James?" David said, but the call had dropped. In the dining room doorway, Karen stood silently. Her face showed no expression, but her hands were clenched tightly at her sides. She had heard enough. The storm grew stronger. Rain pounded against the windows, and wind howled around the house. Minutes later, the lights flickered and went out. "Daddy!" Anna called from upstairs. "The lights are gone!" "It's okay," David called back. "Just a power outage. Stay upstairs with your sisters. I'll find some flashlights." Sarah came into the kitchen with candles. "The weather app says this storm will last for hours. The whole neighborhood is losing power." Outside the Morgan house, police officers in the surveillance van scrambled to fix their equipment. "Backup generators not working," Officer Collins reported into his radio. "Someone tampered with it. We've lost video and audio inside the house." Inside, a loud banging at the front door startled everyone. David opened it to find his neighbor, Mr. Peterson, soaking wet. "David, a tree branch fell on the power lines between our houses," Mr. Peterson shouted over the storm. "There are sparks flying. We need to move my car before the branch falls completely." "I'll help," David said, grabbing his raincoat from the hook by the door. "Sarah, can you stay with the girls and Karen?" "Of course. Sarah replied. "Be careful out there." As soon as David left, Karen moved quickly. She knocked over the large bookshelf near the basement door, creating a loud crash. "What was that?" Sarah called out, rushing toward the sound. "Karen, are you okay?" When Sarah reached the hallway, Karen shoved her hard, sending her tumbling down the basement stairs. Karen slammed the door shut and jammed a chair under the handle. "Karen, what are you doing?" Sarah shouted, pounding on the door. "Let me out!" Upstairs, Anna heard the commotion and sensed danger. She quickly tied red warning ribbons in her sister's hair. "Hide, Bella," she whispered. "Under my bed. Don't come out until Daddy calls for you." Bella nodded and slid under the bed while Anna looked for Chloe. But Chloe had gone to her own room to get her teddy bear when the lights went out. Karen entered Chloe's room, her face calm but her eyes wild. "Chloe, sweetie, we need to go," she said softly. "Where?" Chloe asked, clutching her teddy bear. "To see your mommy," Karen whispered. "I know where she is, but we have to go now, before anyone stops us. It's our secret mission." Chloe hesitated. "I should tell Daddy." "No time," Karen insisted, grabbing Chloe's raincoat. "Your daddy doesn't know the way. Only I can take you to her." "Don't you want to see your mommy?" Confused but hopeful, Chloe nodded. "Can I bring my teddy bear?" "Of course," Karen said with a strange smile. "Bring it with you." Karen led Chloe down the back stairs and through the kitchen to the garage. She quickly wrote a note and left it on the counter. "I have Chloe. If you want to see her again, don't follow me. I want safe passage out of state. I'll call with instructions." Outside, David helped Mr. Peterson move his car away from the fallen branch. When they finished, David ran back to his house through the heavy rain. He found the front door open, swinging in the wind. "Sarah! Girls!" David called, stepping inside. He heard thumping from the basement and rushed to the door, finding it blocked by a chair and bookshelf. He pushed them aside and opened the door to find Sarah trying to climb the stairs, holding her arm in pain. "Karen locked me in," Sarah gasped. "Where are the girls?" David ran upstairs. "Anna, Bella, Chloe?" He found Anna and Bella hiding in Anna's room, but no sign of Chloe. "Where's your sister?" David asked, trying to stay calm. "Karen took her," Anna said, her voice shaking. "I heard them go downstairs." In the kitchen, Sarah found Karen's note. "David, she took Chloe." David called Detective Wilson immediately. "Karen has kidnapped Chloe. She left a ransom note demanding safe passage out of state." "Does Chloe have anything with her that we can track?" Detective Wilson asked urgently. "Her teddy bear," David remembered. "After Lena disappeared, I put small GPS trackers in all the girls' favorite toys. The tracker in Chloe's bear should still be working." Within 30 minutes, despite the storm, police had located the signal from Chloe's bear. Karen's car was heading north on the highway toward Vermont. "We've alerted all state police units," Detective Wilson told David. "The GPS shows they're heading toward the Vermont-New Hampshire border." "I'm coming with you," David insisted. "She's my daughter." "It's too dangerous," Detective Wilson argued. "Karen is unstable. Let us handle this." "She's my daughter," David repeated firmly. "And that's my wife Karen has been hiding. I'm coming." Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away at Pinewood Mental Institute in northern Maine, night nurse Melissa Jenkins was checking patient files during her shift. She paused at the file for Patricia Shepard, admitted 6 months ago for delusional disorder. "These medication dosages are extremely high," Melissa muttered to herself, reviewing the chart. She looked through the small window into the patient's room, where a thin woman with auburn hair slept restlessly. Melissa had recently watched a true crime show about unsolved disappearances. One case featured Lena Morgan, a mother of triplets who vanished from Massachusetts 6 months ago. The missing woman's picture looked remarkably similar to Patricia Shepard. Making a decision, Melissa entered the room and reduced the evening medication dosage. The patient had been kept heavily sedated since admission, which seemed unnecessary and potentially harmful. Hours later, Dr. Thomas Reynolds arrived for his night rounds and checked Patricia Shepard's medication chart. "Who reduced this patient's medication?" he demanded when he found Melissa at the nurse's station. "I did," Melissa replied. The dosage was dangerously high for her weight and condition. Dr. Reynolds' face flushed with anger. You have no authority to change my orders. This patient has severe delusions about having triplet daughters and a husband named David. The medication prevents dangerous episodes. But her file doesn't document any dangerous episodes, Melissa argued, and her physical health is declining from over-medication. Restore the full dosage immediately, Dr. Reynolds ordered, or I'll report you for insubordination. After he left, Melissa felt increasingly suspicious. She returned to Patricia's room, where the patient was now awake, her eyes clearer than Melissa had ever seen them. "Where am I?" the woman asked weakly. "Who are you?" "You're at Pinewood Mental Institute," Melissa answered carefully. "I'm Nurse Jenkins. Can you tell me your name?" The woman frowned in concentration. Lena? I think it's Lena." Melissa's heart raced. She quickly took out her phone and snapped a photo of the patient. "I need to check something. I'll be back soon," she promised. In the medication room, Melissa used her phone to email the photo to the tip line mentioned in the true crime show. The subject line read, "I think I found Lena Morgan." In the patient's room, Lena Morgan struggled to clear her foggy mind. For months, she had lived in a haze of medication and confusion. But now, as the drugs began to wear off, fragments of memory returned. 3 little girls with red hair, a man named David, and fear. Intense fear of a woman named Karen Lena Morgan stared at the white ceiling of her hospital room. With each hour that passed, her mind became clearer as the reduced medication wore off. The note Nurse Jenkins had slipped her was clutched tightly in her hand. "Your real name is Lena Morgan. You have triplets. Help is coming." Hundreds of miles away, police helicopters scanned the dense forests along the Vermont-New Hampshire border. The rain had finally stopped, but fog hung low over the trees, making the search difficult. The GPS signal from Chloe's teddy bear showed Karen's car had stopped moving in a remote area. "We've narrowed the location to this 10-mile radius," Vermont State Trooper Martinez said, pointing to a map spread across the hood of his police car. "It's mostly wilderness, but there are a few cabins and an old summer camp." "Summer camp?" Detective Wilson asked sharply. The trooper nodded. "Camp Silverpine, abandoned about 10 years ago when the owners went bankrupt." Detective Wilson pulled out his phone. "I need to check something." He scrolled through his notes from Karen's background check. "Here it is. Karen Sullivan, previously Catherine Shepard, worked as a counselor at Camp Silverpine for 3 summers during college." "That has to be where she's taken Chloe," David said. His face was pale with exhaustion and fear. He hadn't slept since Chloe's kidnapping 24 hours ago. "We need to approach carefully," Detective Wilson warned. "Karen is unstable and has threatened Chloe's safety." David's hands tightened into fists. "I'm going in with you. This is my daughter we're talking about." "It's too dangerous," Detective Wilson argued. "You're not trained for this." "She's my daughter," David repeated, "and Karen might respond better to me than to armed officers. I'm going." At Pinewood Mental Institute, security guards escorted Nurse Melissa Jenkins from the building. Dr. Reynolds watched coldly as she cleaned out her locker. "Unauthorized medication changes are grounds for immediate termination," he said. "You're lucky I'm not pressing charges." "The patient you call Patricia Shepard is being dangerously over-medicated," Melissa replied, staring directly into his eyes. "And I think her real name is Lena Morgan." Dr. Reynolds's face paled slightly before he regained his composure. "That patient has severe delusional disorder. She believes she has a family that doesn't exist." "Then why does she look exactly like a missing woman from Massachusetts?" Melissa challenged. "A woman with triplet daughters and a husband named David. Exactly the delusion you're medicating her for." Before security let her out, Melissa managed to slip back to Lena's room. The woman was sitting up in bed, her eyes clearer than they had been in months. "Listen carefully," Melissa whispered. "Your name is Lena Morgan. You have triplet daughters named Anna, Bella, and Chloe. Your husband is David. You were kidnapped and brought here under a false name. Help is coming, but I have to leave now. Remember who you are." As dusk fell over the Vermont forests, a tactical team surrounded Camp Silverpine. The abandoned summer camp sat beside a small lake, with a main lodge and several smaller cabins scattered among the trees. A boathouse extended over the water at the end of a wooden dock. David, Detective Wilson, and 4 officers approached the main lodge first. Through grimy windows, they could see lights inside. "Someone's been staying here," Detective Wilson whispered. "Recently." Inside the lodge, they found evidence of careful planning, maps of the Canadian border, disguises and fake identification documents for Karen and Chloe with new names. On a table, they found medications similar to those prescribed to patients with delusions. "She was planning to take Chloe to Canada," David said, picking up a child's passport with Chloe's photo but a different name. Something red on the floor caught his eye. A hair ribbon. David picked it up, recognizing it immediately. "This is Anna's ribbon." The one she gave to Chloe as a warning signal. He looked around and spotted another ribbon near the back door. "Chloe's leaving us a trail." They followed the ribbons, finding one every few yards leading toward the boathouse. As they approached, they could hear Karen's voice, high and strained. "We'll be safe in Canada," she was saying. "Just you and me until your mother is better, then we can be a real family." "I want my daddy." Chloe's voice replied. Detective Wilson signaled to the tactical team to surround the boathouse. "Karen Sullivan," he called through a megaphone. "This is Detective Wilson. We have the building surrounded. Please release Chloe and come out with your hands up." Inside the boathouse, Karen pulled Chloe closer to her. Through a crack in the wall, David could see them standing near the edge where the boathouse floor extended over the water. "They've found us," Karen said, her voice now eerily calm. "They want to separate us." "Karen," David called, stepping forward despite Detective Wilson's warning. "Please let Chloe go. She's scared and wants to come home." "Home?" Karen laughed, a brittle sound. "You don't have a home anymore, David. Just a house full of lies. Did you know your precious Lena is alive? I didn't kill her like you all thought." David froze. "What are you saying?" "She's alive," Karen said. "Safe and sound at Pinewood Mental Institute in Maine. Under a different name, of course, Patricia Shepard. My delusional sister. That's what all the paperwork says." "You committed Lena to a psychiatric facility?" Detective Wilson asked, trying to keep Karen talking while officers moved into position. "It was the perfect plan," Karen said, her voice taking on a dreamy quality. "I watched your family for so long, David. After I lost my baby, I had nothing. Then I saw Lena with those beautiful triplets, the family I should have had." As Karen continued talking, growing more erratic, Chloe noticed a space beneath a boat rack. When Karen's grip loosened, Chloe slipped away and crawled under the rack. "I worked so hard," Karen continued, not immediately noticing Chloe's escape. "I got a job at the pharmacy where you filled your prescriptions. I learned everything about your family. I waited for the perfect moment." "And then what?" David asked, his eyes fixed on Chloe, who was inching toward the door. "I started visiting your house when everyone was asleep," Karen said. "Lena noticed eventually. She started writing things down, getting suspicious. I couldn't let her ruin everything." "So you drugged her?" Detective Wilson said. Karen nodded. "Special medication that makes people confused, makes them seem crazy. I waited until you were at a school event with the girls. Then I confronted Lena. She managed to hide that recorder in the teddy bear, but it was too late. I had already arranged everything with my cousin at Pinewood." "Your cousin?" David asked. "Dr. Reynolds. He helped create the paperwork Lena Morgan disappeared, and Patricia Shepard, my delusional sister, was admitted to Pinewood. The medication makes sure she never remembers who she really is." David spotted Chloe reaching the door where an officer waited to grab her. As soon as Chloe was safely outside, the tactical team moved forward. "It's over, Karen," Detective Wilson said. "Chloe is safe. We know where Lena is. Come out peacefully." Karen suddenly realized Chloe was gone. Her face contorted with rage, then despair. She backed toward the edge of the boathouse floor where it hung over the dark water. "It can't be over," she whispered. "I did everything right. I created the perfect family." She took another step backward, now standing at the very edge. "If I can't have her, no one will." As Karen leaned backward toward the water, David lunged forward and tackled her to the floor. Officers rushed in, securing Karen's hands behind her back. "Lena is alive," David kept saying as they led Karen away. "Lena is alive." Outside, Chloe ran into her father's arms, sobbing. "I left the ribbon so you could find me," she said, "just like Anna taught us." "You were so brave," David said, holding her tightly. "So smart." Detective Wilson approached, his phone in hand. "David, we've received an email from a nurse at Pinewood. She sent a photo of a patient she believes is Lena. We need you to confirm." With shaking hands, David took the phone. The woman in the photo was thin, her face pale, her auburn hair limp, but unmistakably Lena. "That's her," he said, tears streaming down his face. "That's my wife." As Karen was placed in a police car, she called out to David, "You may have found her body, but the Lena you knew is gone forever. I made sure the medications erased everything she was." David turned away from her, focusing instead on his daughter and the photo of his wife. "We're going to bring Mommy home, Chloe," he promised. "Right now." David held Chloe close as they drove away from Camp Silver Pine. The police car's blue lights flashed in the darkness. Detective Wilson sat in the front seat, making urgent phone calls. "We need an emergency team at Pinewood Mental Institute in northern Maine immediately," he said into his phone. "We have reason to believe they're holding Lena Morgan against her will under a false identity." David listened while gently stroking Chloe's hair. She had fallen asleep against his shoulder, exhausted from her ordeal. "What did they say?" David asked when Detective Wilson ended his call. "FBI agents from the Portland office are on their way to Pinewood," Detective Wilson explained. "But there's a problem. The facility's corporate lawyers are demanding court orders for each patient room they enter." "That could take hours," David said, trying to keep his voice low so he wouldn't wake Chloe. "Karen said her cousin Dr. Reynolds works there. What if he tries to move Lena or hurt her when he finds out Karen's been arrested?" "I've thought of that," Detective Wilson replied. "We're sending officers to your house to bring Sarah and your other daughters to a safe location. Then you and I are flying to Maine on the state police helicopter. It will be faster than driving." Back in Oak Ridge, Sarah answered the door to find two police officers standing on the porch. "Ms. Thompson, Detective Wilson sent us. We're here to escort you and the Morgan children to a safe location," Officer Garcia explained. Sarah nodded. "Let me get the girls ready." Upstairs, Anna was helping Bella pack a small overnight bag. Both girls were quiet, their faces serious. "Is Daddy bringing Chloe home?" Anna asked when Sarah entered the room. "Yes," Sarah said, kneeling to meet their eyes. "Chloe is safe, and they found your mom too." Bella's eyes widened. "Mommy?" she whispered. It was the first word she had spoken in days. "Yes," Sarah said, fighting back tears. "Your mommy is alive. She's in a hospital far away, and Daddy is going to bring her home too." Anna organized their things with careful precision. "Mommy will need welcome home drawings," she decided. "We should make some for her." "That's a wonderful idea," Sarah agreed. "We can do that at the safe place where the police are taking us." As they left the house, Bella suddenly stopped and turned to Sarah. "Will Mommy remember me?" she asked, her voice small but clear. Sarah hugged her tightly. "Your mommy loves you very much. Nothing could make her forget you." In northern Maine, Dr. Thomas Reynolds paced his office at Pinewood Mental Institute. Karen's daily check-in call never came. His phone showed 12 missed calls from Detective Wilson in Oak Ridge, Massachusetts. "This is not good," he muttered to himself. He quickly pulled out Patricia Shepard's file, the patient who was really Lena Morgan, and began filling out transfer papers. "Emergency transfer to our private facility in upstate New York," he wrote. Patient experiencing acute psychotic episode requiring specialized care. He then went to the medication room and prepared a syringe with a strong sedative, much more than would be needed for normal transportation. Security cameras recorded his movements as he walked down the hall to room 317, where Lena was now sitting up in bed staring at the note Nurse Jenkins had given her at the State Police airfield. David carefully transferred the sleeping Chloe to Sarah's waiting arms. "The officers will take you all to a hotel in Boston," David explained. "You'll be safe there until we return with Lena." "Be careful," Sarah said, "and call as soon as you know anything." The police helicopter lifted off into the night sky with David, Detective Wilson, and 2 FBI agents on board. Rain lashed against the windows as they flew northeast toward Maine. "We've arranged to meet Melissa Jenkins, the nurse who contacted us," one of the FBI agents explained over the helicopter's loud engine. "She was suspended today for reducing Lena's medication, but she still has her security badge." "How long until we reach Pinewood?" David asked anxiously. "About 2 hours if this storm doesn't slow us down," the pilot called back. "It's getting worse out there." David stared out the window into the darkness. "Hold on, Lena," he whispered. "We're coming." At 3 o'clock in the morning, the helicopter landed in a clearing 5 miles from Pinewood Mental Institute. A small red car waited nearby. Melissa Jenkins stepped out as they approached. "Thank you for coming," she said, pulling her coat tight against the rain. "I think Dr. Reynolds knows something is wrong. He's been acting strangely all night." "Tell us about Lena, or Patricia, as they call her," Detective Wilson said as they huddled in her car. Melissa pulled out a hand-drawn map of the facility. "She's in room 317 on the 3rd floor. Dr. Reynolds has kept her heavily medicated for 6 months. She's listed as his private patient with a diagnosis of delusional disorder." "What kind of security does the facility have?" the FBI agent asked. "Keycard access to all secure areas," Melissa explained, handing over her badge. "This will get you to the 3rd floor, but they're watching all main entrances since I was suspended. You should use the service entrance on the east side. The night guard there usually sleeps between 3 and 4 in the morning." The rain grew heavier as they approached Pinewood Mental Institute, a large brick building surrounded by tall fences topped with barbed wire. It looked more like a prison than a hospital. At the main entrance, Pinewood security teams stopped the FBI agents and police. "We need court-approved warrants for each secure area and patient room," the head of security insisted. "Those are our legal protocols." While legal teams argued at the front entrance, David followed Melissa's instructions and slipped through the service entrance on the east side. The guard station was empty, just as she had predicted. Using Melissa's key card, David moved through deserted hallways, following her map toward the 3rd floor. His heart pounded in his chest as he climbed the emergency stairs. Meanwhile, in room 317, Lena Morgan's mind was clearing more with each hour. The note from Nurse Jenkins lay crumpled in her hand. "Your real name is Lena Morgan. You have triplets. Help is coming." Fragments of memory surfaced in her mind. 3 little girls with matching red hair, a birthday cake with 5 candles, a man named David who loved to look at stars. She whispered the names to herself. "Anna, Bella, Chloe, my babies." The door to her room opened slowly. Dr. Reynolds entered, a syringe in his hand. "Good evening, Patricia," he said with a tight smile. "I need to prepare you for transfer to another facility. This will help you rest during the trip." Lena looked at the syringe, her nurse's training from her life before captivity surfacing in her mind. The amount of medication was far too large. "No," she said firmly. "I don't want that." Dr. Reynolds moved closer. "It's not optional, Patricia. You're experiencing delusions again. This will help you." Lena knocked over the water pitcher on her bedside table, buying herself precious seconds as Dr. Reynolds stepped back to avoid the spill. "My name is not Patricia," she said, her voice growing stronger. "My name is Lena Morgan. I have 3 daughters and a husband named David." Dr. Reynolds' smile disappeared. "Those are delusions caused by your condition. Now hold still." He grabbed her arm roughly, the syringe raised. Lena screamed and fought against him, surprising him with her strength. In the hallway, David heard a woman's scream followed by breaking glass. He recognized the voice immediately, Lena's voice. After 6 months of silence and searching, he knew that sound as surely as his own heartbeat. He ran down the corridor toward room 317 and pushed open the door. Inside, Dr. Reynolds struggled to hold down Lena, who was fighting with surprising strength for someone who had been bedridden for months. "Get away from my wife!" David shouted. Dr. Reynolds spun around, startled. In one fluid motion, he pulled a gun from inside his lab coat and pointed it at David. "You shouldn't be here," he said coldly. "This patient is suffering from delusions that you're her husband." "I am her husband," David said. His eyes locked on Lena. She stared back at him, recognition dawning on her face. "David?" she whispered. "Is it really you?" "Yes, Lena," David said, his voice breaking. "I've come to take you home." Dr. Reynolds backed toward the bathroom, pulling Lena with him. "Nobody moves," he warned, pressing the gun against Lena's side. "I have nothing to lose now. My career is over if this gets out." "Let her go," David pleaded. "The FBI is already here. The building is surrounded." "Then I need a way out," Dr. Reynolds said. "And she's my ticket." Outside, Detective Wilson received David's text about the hostage situation. He quickly organized a tactical response, creating a diversion by cutting power to the secure wing. When the lights went out, plunging the room into darkness, Lena seized her chance. She slammed her elbow into Dr. Reynolds' stomach and broke free of his grasp. In the confusion, David tackled the doctor and they struggled for the gun. FBI agents burst into the room just as David managed to pin Dr. Reynolds to the floor. The gun skidded across the room harmlessly. As agents handcuffed Dr. Reynolds, David rushed to Lena's side. She looked at him with a mixture of joy and confusion. "David," she whispered, touching his face. "You found me." "I never stopped looking," he said, holding her gently. "I'm taking you home to our girls." Lena's face lit up, then clouded with uncertainty. "The girls, our babies, are they okay?" David realized with a pang that Lena still thought of the triplets as babies, not the 5-year-olds they now were. 6 months of heavy medication had left her confused about time. "They're safe," he assured her. "They miss you so much." Medical specialists arrived to evaluate Lena's condition. "She's been on a dangerous combination of antipsychotics and sedatives," the doctor explained to David. "Her recovery will be complex. We need to transfer her to Massachusetts General Hospital for proper treatment." As they prepared Lena for medical evacuation, she held tightly to David's hand. "Don't leave me," she begged. "Never again," David promised. In the medical helicopter flying south toward Boston, Lena drifted in and out of sleep. During a moment of clarity, she suddenly turned to David. "The girls," she said urgently. "Did they get new teddy bears for their birthday?" David stared at her in amazement. "Yes," he said. "How did you remember that?" "I put the recorder in Chloe's bear," Lena whispered. "I knew something bad was going to happen. I hoped someone would find it." The medical specialist traveling with them looked at David with concern. "The woman you knew is still in there," he said quietly. "But the medications have created a different version of her, and we don't yet know which version will ultimately survive." David watched Lena's face as she drifted back to sleep in the helicopter. Her features were thinner than he remembered, her skin pale from months without sunlight, but she was alive. After 6 months of emptiness and false hope, his wife was finally returning to him. The medical helicopter landed on the roof of Massachusetts General Hospital just after sunrise. A team of doctors and nurses waited with a stretcher. David held Lena's hand as they transferred her from the helicopter. "I need to stay with her," David told the lead doctor. "You can come with us to the evaluation room," Dr. Eleanor Winters replied. She was the head of the hospital's neuropsychiatric unit. "But we'll need to run many tests." In a large examination room, the medical team worked quickly, taking blood samples, checking vital signs, and reviewing the medications Dr. Reynolds had prescribed at Pinewood. "These dosages are extremely high," Dr. Winters said with a frown. "She's been given enough medication to treat someone with severe psychosis, which I'm assuming she doesn't have." "No," David confirmed. "Lena has never had any mental health issues. They drugged her to keep her confused and unable to tell anyone who she really was." Dr. Winters nodded grimly. "We'll start reducing the medications immediately, but we have to do it carefully. Sudden withdrawal could cause seizures or worse." Lena opened her eyes, looking confused at all the activity around her. "David?" she called, panic in her voice. "I'm right here," he said, moving quickly to her side. "You're safe now. We're at a hospital in Boston." "The babies," Lena said urgently. "Where are my babies?" David swallowed hard. "They're safe, Lena. They're with Sarah at a hotel nearby." "I need to see them," Lena insisted, trying to sit up. "My babies need me." A nurse gently eased her back against the pillows. "Soon," she promised. "But first, we need to make sure you're well enough." Meanwhile, at Pinewood Mental Institute, FBI agents and police officers continued their investigation. They had arrested Dr. Reynolds and 3 other staff members who were involved in the illegal commitment scheme. "We've found something," Agent Lisa Parker called to her team leader. "There's a hidden room behind the storage area in the East Wing." Inside the hidden room, agents discovered filing cabinets filled with records of other patients who might have been falsely committed. Digital records had been carefully altered, but paper backups revealed the truth. "There could be dozens of victims," Agent Parker said, examining the files. "Some have been here for years, all diagnosed with delusional disorder and kept heavily medicated. In Boston, Sarah Thompson brought the triplets to the hospital to see their mother for the first time. They waited nervously in a family room while doctors prepared Lena for the visit. "Will Mommy look different?" Chloe asked, clutching her teddy bear. "She might look a little tired," Sarah explained. "And she might be confused sometimes, but she's still your mommy, and she loves you very much." Anna approached the situation methodically. She had brought a photo album from home. "We can show Mommy pictures to help her remember," she explained to her sisters. Bella remained silent, but she had drawn pictures for her mother. Page after page of colorful drawings showing their family together. Dr. Winters spoke with David before allowing the family reunion. "This will be emotional for everyone," she warned. "Lena's memories are fragmented. She still thinks the girls are babies, not 5-year-olds. Be prepared for her confusion." David nodded. "What should I tell the girls?" "The truth, but simply," Dr. Winters advised. "Explain that the medicine made their mother's memories jumbled, but with time and love, many of those memories will return." When the moment finally arrived, David brought the triplets into Lena's room. She was sitting up in bed, looking more alert after receiving proper treatment for 24 hours. "My babies," Lena gasped when she saw the girls. Tears filled her eyes as she reached for them. Anna stepped forward first, calm and collected despite her emotions. "Hello, Mommy. We missed you." Bella followed, silently handing Lena her drawings. Chloe climbed directly onto the bed and hugged her mother tightly. "You're so big," Lena whispered, looking bewildered. "How did you get so big?" "We had a birthday," Chloe explained. "We're 5 now." Lena looked confused. "But you were just learning to walk. You had just started saying, 'Mama.'" David saw the panic rising in Lena's eyes. "It's okay," he said gently. "The medicine they gave you at that place made time confusing. The girls have grown, but they're still our girls." Anna opened her photo album. "Look, Mommy, here we are at Christmas last year, and here's our first day of preschool." Lena studied the photos with a mixture of recognition and confusion. "I remember this," she said, pointing to a Christmas photo. "You got a toy kitchen, Anna, and Bella, you got the big stuffed elephant." She looked at Bella for confirmation. Bella nodded and smiled for the first time in days. "But other things?" Lena shook her head. It's like trying to remember a dream. I know they happened, but I can't see them clearly." The visit continued for an hour, with moments of clarity mixed with confusion. When the girls grew tired, Sarah took them back to the hotel with promises to visit again tomorrow. After they left, Lena turned to David. "I heard Karen's voice in that place. She visited me." David sat beside her bed. "Karen and her cousin Dr. Reynolds were working together. They kept you drugged and confused at Pinewood while Karen took over your life." "She wanted my family," Lena said slowly. "I remember now, she came to our house that night. I was alone. She said she deserved you and the girls more than I did." "How did you think to put the recorder in the teddy bear?" David asked. "I was scared for weeks before she came," Lena explained. "Things kept moving in the house. I felt like someone was watching me. I bought the recorder because I thought I was losing my mind. Then I realized someone was coming into our house at night." Lena's face darkened with the memory. "When I confronted Karen that night, I knew she might hurt me. I had already hidden the recorder in Chloe's old teddy bear. I planned to give it to the girls on their birthday." Her voice broke. "I never thought I'd miss their birthday." "Chloe found the recording," David said. "That's how we discovered what Karen had done." "My smart girl," Lena whispered. "How did you find me?" "It was a long process," David admitted. "The recording led us to Karen. Her storage unit had evidence that led to Pinewood, and a brave nurse there realized who you really were." Dr. Winters returned with test results later that evening. "The good news is that physically, Lena is recovering well. The medications are leaving her system safely. But her memory and cognitive functions will take more time to fully recover." "Will I ever be normal again?" Lena asked directly. "Many patients make full recoveries from much longer periods of inappropriate medication," Dr. Winters assured her. "But it's a process, not an overnight change. You'll need therapy, support, and time." Later that night, after Lena had fallen asleep, Detective Wilson visited David in the hospital waiting room. "We found more victims at Pinewood," he said quietly. "At least 15 other patients were committed under false identities, most by family members who wanted them out of the way for financial reasons." "That's horrible," David said. "Pinewood was running an illegal scheme," Detective Wilson continued. "For the right price, they would admit anyone, give them a false diagnosis, and keep them medicated and out of the way. Karen and Dr. Adirsh. Reynolds were part of this system, but they took it further with Lena because of Karen's obsession with your family." "Will they all go to prison?" David asked. "Karen and Dr. Reynolds certainly will," Detective Wilson confirmed. "Multiple felony charges for both of them." When David returned to Lena's room, he found her awake and staring at the ceiling. "I keep remembering little things," she said. "Anna likes her sandwiches cut into triangles. Bella always sleeps with her left foot sticking out from under the covers. Chloe sings to herself when she thinks no one is listening." David took her hand. "That's wonderful, Lena. Those memories are all real." "But there are still so many blank spaces," Lena said, her voice trembling. "Will I ever remember everything? Will I ever be the mother they remember?" "We'll make new memories together," David promised. "And day by day, the old ones will come back too." Outside Lena's hospital room, Dr. Winters made notes on her chart. Patient showing remarkable memory recovery in personal areas. Emotional connections to family serving as strong anchors for cognitive healing. Prognosis cautiously optimistic for substantial recovery. Dr. Winters closed Lena's medical chart and walked down the hospital corridor. She had seen many cases of medication withdrawal in her career, but Lena Morgan's situation was uniquely challenging. 6 months of unnecessary psychotropic drugs had altered both her body and mind. 2 days after Lena's rescue, Dr. Winters assembled a specialized treatment team in her office at Massachusetts General Hospital. "Lena Morgan presents a complex case," Dr. Winters explained, writing on a whiteboard. "We need to gradually withdraw 5 different medications while managing physical symptoms and supporting memory recovery." A neurologist, psychiatrist, and 2 specialized nurses nodded as Dr. Winters outlined a detailed treatment plan. Physically, we'll see tremors, anxiety, nausea, and possibly seizures, she continued. Mentally, we'll see confusion, memory gaps, and emotional volatility. Our goal is a complete but careful withdrawal over 6 weeks. In her hospital room, Lena experienced her first withdrawal seizure that afternoon. David was holding her hand one moment, and the next, she was shaking uncontrollably. Medical staff rushed in, moving David outside despite his protests. "I need to be with her," he shouted as a nurse firmly closed the door. "Mr. Morgan, please," the nurse said. "The medical team needs space to work. This is normal during withdrawal. It looks scary, but they know how to handle it." David paced the hallway, feeling helpless. He hadn't left the hospital since Lena's arrival, sleeping in a chair beside her bed. But now he was forced to confront the reality of her long recovery process. "David?" Sarah called, walking quickly down the hall with a travel bag. "I brought you clean clothes and some food." "Lena had a seizure," David said, his voice breaking. "They won't let me in there." Sarah guided him to a nearby waiting area. "You need to take care of yourself too," she said gently. "The girls need you. Lena needs you. You can't help anyone if you collapse from exhaustion." "How are the girls?" David asked, suddenly remembering his other responsibilities. "They're okay. Your neighbor Mrs. Peterson is watching them today. Anna keeps making lists of things to bring to the hospital. Bella is drawing pictures for Lena, and Chloe talks to her teddy bear about her mommy coming home soon." David buried his face in his hands. "How do I balance everything? Lena needs me here, but the girls need me at home." "You don't have to do it alone," Sarah assured him. "The whole neighborhood is helping. There's a meal schedule, childcare volunteers, even a cleaning crew for your house. Everyone wants to help the Morgan family." 3 weeks into Lena's treatment, her physical symptoms had improved enough for a longer visit with the triplets. David brought them to the hospital, carefully preparing them for what to expect. "Remember, Mommy is still getting better," he explained in the elevator. "Sometimes she might get confused about things. If that happens, just be patient and gentle with her." The girls had prepared for this visit carefully. Anna brought a photo album she had organized chronologically. Bella carried a folder of drawings she had made for her mother. Chloe held a small music box that played Lena's favorite lullaby. When they entered the room, Lena was sitting up in bed. Her appearance had improved, her face had more color, and she had started regaining some of the weight she had lost at Pinewood. "My beautiful girls," Lena said, opening her arms. The triplets approached her bed, each responding differently to seeing their mother in the hospital setting. Anna stepped forward confidently, Bella hung back shyly, and Chloe immediately climbed onto the bed for a hug. "I brought our photos to help you remember things," Anna explained, opening her album on Lena's lap. "I put them in order by date." Lena smiled at Anna's methodical approach. "That's very thoughtful, sweetheart." As they looked through the album, Lena sometimes nodded with recognition, but other times she looked confused. "When was this?" She asked about a family trip to the beach. "Last summer," Anna explained patiently. "You taught us how to build sandcastles with moats." Lena frowned. "I don't remember that." She turned to David with a look of panic. "It's okay," he reassured her. "Dr. Winters said some memories might take longer to come back." Bella silently handed Lena her drawings one by one. Each picture showed the family together. At the dinner table, in the garden, reading bedtime stories, Lena studied each drawing carefully. "These are beautiful, Bella," she said. "You've always been our artist, haven't you?" Bella nodded, a small smile appearing on her face when she realized her mother remembered this about her. Chloe sat beside Lena on the bed, instinctively taking her hand whenever Lena seemed upset or confused. When Lena struggled to remember the name of the girl's preschool teacher, Chloe simply opened the music box, letting the gentle melody distract from the moment of confusion. "You always know what people need, Chloe," Lena whispered, kissing the top of her head. While Lena's recovery continued at the hospital, the legal case against Karen Sullivan and Dr. Reynolds progressed rapidly. Detective Wilson visited David at the hospital to update him. "We found Karen's detailed journals at the Lake Champlain property," he explained. "They document everything. Her obsession with your family, how she planned Lena's abduction, even sketches of how she would redecorate your house once Lena was gone." "How could someone plan something so terrible for so long?" David asked. "The journals show her mental state deteriorating after her miscarriage," Detective Wilson explained. "She fixated on your family as the one she should have had. The district attorney says it's some of the most disturbing evidence she's ever seen." The investigation also revealed similar cases at Pinewood Institute. The FBI discovered 27 patients who had been illegally committed over the past decade, many by family members seeking control of their assets. Back in Oak Ridge, Sarah coordinated the community support effort from David's kitchen table. She had created spreadsheets for meal deliveries, childcare schedules, and household maintenance. "Mrs. Johnson will bring dinner on Tuesday," she told David during one of his brief visits home. "The Henderson family is mowing your lawn, and the preschool teachers are taking turns with after-school care for the girls. I don't know how to thank everyone," David said, overwhelmed by the generosity. "Just focus on Lena and the girls," Sarah replied. "That's all anyone wants." 6 weeks into treatment, Lena experienced a significant breakthrough. Anna had brought a video of the triplets' 4th birthday to the hospital on a tablet. "Watch this, Mommy," she said, pressing play. The video showed Lena in the kitchen, putting final touches on a homemade castle cake. The triplets danced around her in party dresses. As Lena watched, her eyes widened. "The strawberry filling!" she exclaimed suddenly. "I remember now. The cake had strawberry filling because it's Anna's favorite, and Bella wanted blue frosting, but we compromised on purple because it looked more like a castle." "That's right," Anna said excitedly, "and Chloe kept trying to stick her finger in the frosting," Lena continued, the memory flowing now. "So I gave her the mixing spoon to lick instead." David and Dr. Winters, who had been observing from the doorway, exchanged hopeful glances. "That's her first fully coherent, long-term memory recovery," Dr. Winters said quietly to David. "This is a very positive sign." That evening, after the girls had gone home with Sarah, Lena had her first day of complete lucidity. She recognized all the hospital staff by name and recalled conversations from earlier in the day with perfect clarity. "It's like a fog lifting," she told Dr. Winters during their evening assessment. "I still have blank spaces, but more things are making sense now." "Your brain is healing," Dr. Winters explained. "The medication suppressed your memory and cognitive functions, but they didn't destroy them. As the drugs leave your system, your natural abilities are returning." Later, when David and Lena were alone, she asked a question that surprised him. "Can I see the teddy bear, the one that saved me?" David looked startled. "How do you know about that? I don't think we told you that part." Lena's face grew serious. "I remember putting the recorder in it. I remember planning to give it to Chloe for her birthday." She shuddered. "And I remember the night Karen came. She was so calm even as she told me I didn't deserve my family, that she was going to take my place." David held her hand tightly. "We never told you it was Chloe who found the recording." "I think I'm remembering more than the doctors expected," Lena said, "including things they thought I might never remember." "Is that good or bad?" David asked. "Both," Lena admitted. "I'm remembering beautiful things about our life together, but I'm also remembering the night everything was taken from me." Outside the hospital window, snow began to fall gently over Boston. Lena watched the white flakes, a small smile forming on her lips. "The girls will be excited," she said. "They love the first snow of the year. We always make hot chocolate with extra marshmallows and watch it from the living room window." David stared at her in amazement. It was another perfect memory, a family tradition they had followed every year since the triplets were born. "Yes," he said, his heart filling with hope. "And we'll do it again this year, all 5 of us, together." 3 months after her rescue from Pinewood Institute, the Morgan family car turned onto Oak Street in Oak Ridge. Lena sat in the passenger seat watching familiar houses pass by through the window. Mrs. Peterson planted new flowers, she observed, pointing to a garden they passed, and the Millers painted their front door red. David smiled as he drove. "You remember our neighbors." "More every day," Lena replied. Her hands fidgeted nervously in her lap as their house came into view. "I'm scared, David." He reached over and took her hand. "Of what?" "Walking into that house again, the last time I was there." Her voice trailed off. "It's different now," David assured her. "You'll see." In the back seat, the triplets could barely contain their excitement. They had been preparing for this day for weeks. "We cleaned your special mug, Mommy," Anna announced, "and put it next to Daddy's in the cabinet." "I made signs for your bedroom," Bella added softly. "And I helped make the welcome home cake," Chloe said, "with chocolate frosting because that's your favorite." As David parked in the driveway, Lena took a deep breath. The house looked the same from outside, but she knew inside would be different. Karen had lived there for months, changing their home to suit her tastes. "Ready?" David asked gently. Lena nodded. "Ready." When she stepped through the front door, Lena gasped in surprise. The interior of the house had been completely transformed. New paint covered the walls in warm, soft colors. The furniture was different. Not a single piece remained from Karen's time there. "We changed everything," David explained. "The whole neighborhood helped. New furniture, new paint, even new kitchen cabinets." "Welcome home," a group of voices called. Sarah Thompson stood in the living room doorway along with several neighbors and friends. A banner hung across the staircase with the words, "Welcome Home Lena," painted in bright colors. "We wanted to be here to welcome you," Sarah said, hugging Lena carefully, "but we'll keep it short. We know you need time to settle in." After a brief welcome with cake and hugs, the visitors left. Leaving the Morgan family alone in their home, Lena walked slowly from room to room, touching things, reacquainting herself with the space. "Your bedroom is upstairs, Mommy," Chloe said, tugging her hand. "Come see." The master bedroom had been completely redone with new furniture, bedding, and curtains. On the walls hung family photos, pictures of David, Lena, and the girls from before Karen had entered their lives. "No trace of her," David said quietly. "Nothing to remind you." Lena sat on the edge of the bed, running her hands over the soft blue comforter. "Thank you," she whispered. The first days at home established new routines for the family. Lena had outpatient therapy 3 times a week at Oak Ridge Medical Center. David adjusted his teaching schedule to work only during school hours so he could be home more. The girls attended kindergarten in the mornings and spent afternoons with Lena. Each triplet responded differently to having their mother home. Anna became fiercely protective, creating detailed schedules for Lena's medications and therapy appointments. "You need to take the blue pill at 8 o'clock, Anna would remind Lena each morning, standing beside her with a glass of water. "And the white one at noon." "Thank you, my organized girl," Lena would say, accepting Anna's help with a smile. Bella, who had been silent for so long, found her voice through reading. She would curl up beside Lena on the couch each afternoon with a stack of books. "Can we read another chapter?" she would ask softly. "I like when you do the different voices." Those quiet reading sessions became healing times for both of them. Sometimes Lena would forget parts of stories they had read together before her disappearance, and Bella would gently remind her, "Remember, the rabbit's name is Hoppy, not Floppy," she would say without judgment. "You used to call him Hoppy because he hops everywhere." Chloe, with her natural empathy, became Lena's guide to family traditions and favorite recipes. "We always put cinnamon in the pancakes on Sundays," she explained one morning, standing on a stool in the kitchen, "and you let me stir the batter 20 times, not more." "Why 20 times?" Lena asked, trying to remember. "Because I was 2 when I started helping," Chloe explained. "And you said we stir for how old I am, but then you said 20 is enough even when I got bigger." These small details, these fragments of their family life, helped rebuild what had been taken from them. For David, the adjustment was complicated by his guilt. Late at night, after the girls were asleep, he and Lena would talk in the living room. "I should have known something was wrong," he said one evening. "I should never have let Karen get so close to our family." "She was very careful," Lena reminded him. "She planned everything for months. Even I didn't realize how dangerous she was until it was too late." "But I married her, Lena," David said, the pain clear in his voice. 2 months after you disappeared, I married the woman who took you from us." Lena took his hands in hers. "You thought I was gone. You were trying to give the girls stability. I understand that now. How can you forgive me so easily?" "Because I know your heart," Lena said simply, "and we have too much healing to do to waste time on blame." They attended couples counseling weekly, working through the complicated emotions of their situation. David learned to forgive himself gradually, while Lena processed her trauma with the help of her therapist. The legal proceedings against Karen Sullivan and Dr. Reynolds concluded with both receiving lengthy prison sentences. Karen was sentenced to 25 years for kidnapping, assault, forgery, and false imprisonment. Dr. Reynolds received 15 years for his role in the scheme and lost his medical license permanently. Karen's detailed journals became key evidence in a class action lawsuit against Pinewood Mental Institute. The facility eventually closed, and all patients were re-evaluated by independent doctors. 17 people were released after being found falsely committed. 6 weeks after returning home, Lena suggested creating a foundation to help verify patient identities at mental health facilities and to support children dealing with trauma. "We could use our experience to help others," she explained to David. "The system failed in so many ways. We could work to fix it." The Morgan Family Foundation was established with the mission of protecting vulnerable patients and supporting families affected by trauma. Sarah Thompson agreed to serve as its first director, working part-time while continuing her teaching career. 3 months after Lena's return home, the family held a small celebration in their backyard. It wasn't a holiday or birthday, just a family day to mark how far they had come. Sarah and a few close friends joined them for a simple barbecue lunch. The girls ran through the yard, playing tag and laughing. David grilled hamburgers while chatting with neighbors. Lena moved among the guests, sometimes pausing when a memory was unclear, but mostly present and engaged. During a quiet moment, David found Lena sitting alone on the porch swing, watching the girls play. "What are you thinking?" he asked, joining her. "About how different they are now," Lena said. "Anna is even more organized than before. Bella talks more than she used to. And Chloe seems older somehow, more aware of people's feelings." "They changed while you were gone," David acknowledged. "And they're changing again now that you're back." "That's what children do," Lena said. "They grow and change. I just wish I hadn't missed those 6 months." "But you're here for all the months and years ahead," David reminded her that evening as Lena tucked the girls into bed. She whispered the same message to each of them. "Love finds a way to bring us home, even when we get lost." Chloe's teddy bear sat on a special shelf in their bedroom, no longer containing its secret recording, but still honored as the object that helped bring their family back together. After the girls fell asleep, Lena went downstairs and found David looking through photo albums in the living room. "Making new memories while remembering the old ones," he said, showing her recent pictures mixed with older family photos. Lena nodded, sitting beside him. "That's what healing looks like for us, isn't it? Honoring what came before while creating something new." On the mantel above them, framed photographs told the story of their family, not just the happy moments from before, but also the new pictures showing their reunion and recovery. It wasn't a perfect fairy tale ending, but something more valuable, a real family rebuilding day by day, stronger for having found their way back to each other. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.